Alright, so the first thing you learned was about sine, cosine, and tangent, and that if you remember SOHCAHTOA, you can figure out the ratio of two sides of a right triangle. So if we have cosecant, that is related to sine. So something that you should remember is that these two, cosine and cosecant, are related to each other because, and here's how they're related, cosecant is 1 over sine of theta. Therefore, we can write cosecant as the opposite of sine. So instead of opposite over hypotenuse, I can write hypotenuse over opposite. Another relationship or identity is secant, and secant is written S-E-C theta, as cosecant is C-S-C, C-S-C of theta. And secant is kind of the opposite of cosine. So it's 1 over cosine of theta. So instead of adjacent over hypotenuse, it's the opposite of that, hypotenuse over adjacent. Now, as you can imagine, cotangent is going to be related to tangent, but that gets a little confusing because sine and cosine are not really related. So cotangent, C-O-T, cotangent of theta, is 1 over tangent of theta, or the opposite of what we have over here. Instead of opposite over adjacent, we're going to have adjacent over opposite. So let's look at an example here. I'm going to take this down with us. Now let's say you were asked to find all 6 trig functions for the following right triangle. Let's make it just standard 3, 4, 5. So if we're going to find the standard functions, first we need to list them out. So I need to find sine of theta, cosine of theta, tangent of theta, and then sine is related to cosecant theta, cosine is related to secant theta, and then tangent is related to cotangent of theta. So a good first step is to just go through and find sine, cosine, and tangent. And to do that, we're going to use SOHCAHTOA. So sine is opposite, which in this case theta is over here. Opposite is 4 over hypotenuse, which is 5. Alright, let's do cosine. Cosine is adjacent, which will be our 3. Hypotenuse is never considered adjacent. So 3 over the hypotenuse, which is 5. And then tangent of theta is opposite, so 4 over adjacent, which is 3. Whoops. Yeah. Okay, and for cosecant, we know that it is the opposite of sine, so it's going to be 5 over 4 instead of 4 over 5. Secant is going to be the opposite of cosine, so instead of 3 over 5, we're going to have 5 over 3. And cotangent is the opposite of tangent, so instead of 4 over 3, we're going to have 3 over 4. And that is the basics of the 6 main functions. We'll talk about how you can manipulate those in another video.